I've got an answer for that, is that because the climate scientists wisely say they're only 90% sure, there is always some very small chance that it could be something that we don't know about. But we're going to run out of non-renewable fuels. And so it's better to act now rather than let future generations worry about that problem. So whether you are a climate change believer or not, it's really important we start conserving fossil fuels and actually stop using them.
Yes, we had a discussion in my house, and the analogy we used was if you were sitting in your car and someone came up to you and said, there's only a 10% chance that your car is going to explode, would you stay sitting in your car? And we've been given a 90% chance that our car's about to explode. So I'm going to take my chances on it.
Great answer.
Anyone else?
Yes. What do you think the AYCC can do to other parts of the world, like for example, where just mentioned Africa, that don't have an idea about climate change? What do you think the AYCC can do together with us, the journalists?
Well, one of the problems is that our world is built on a capitalistic system, one that I've done very well out of, and in fact the reason we're all here is we've benefited from it. But it's not sustainable, because our economic system is based on perpetual growth. That's not possible. It's a closed world, a finite world. So what the AYCC can do is communicate this fact. It's going to be young people saying, in effect, older people, you have let us down. You have an economic system which is not sustainable. You're not going to do anything about fixing it. We're going to.
I think there was some nice words said recently about that carbon doesn't have a restriction. That it's not just Australia's carbon's going to stay in Australia, that it floats around. So I think that the conversation needs to be this is a global issue. This isn't Australia's problem. This isn't China's problem. It's all of our problem. And as much as we can keep that conversation global, I think that that's how you create change in countries that might not have AYCCs.
And by the way, I believe as young people you must have been so disappointed with our government in the last couple of years, both the government and the opposition, but it's great to see there's a bit of leadership making a tough decision, and that's really made me feel a lot better. When I was a kid, we had very strong leaders who made tough decisions we didn't always like. It's good to see Julia Gillard has now made a tough decision. I think it'll be for the benefit of future mankind.
And AYCC sends teams of people to the United Nations every year, not to work necessarily with governments or the United Nations, but to work with other young people who have AYCCs of their own, try and share our skills. And we've been fortunate enough to build a strong organisation because we do live in a lucky country to share those skills with people who are just trying to start their own organisations.
And also, Australia is a democratic country, but unlike other countries, like places like in Africa, it's not that democratic. But how can these people try to voice out their aims about climate change? Because from my past experience, young people try to come together and let the government and the leaders be aware that the future is for them. But a lot of them were killed. So how can we try to protect them? How can we sensitize them in order for them to be saved while they are trying to pursue their cause?
I think it's a really difficult issue, and we're lucky enough in Australia to be in a democracy, so we have a responsibility to speak up more than other people who don't have the opportunity to speak up, so it needs to start at home, I think.
And I think it's about raising the standard of living, that democracies normally work better in a country where people are well fed and where they have time to be able to use some of the freedoms that we have time to use here. So what we've got to be doing is making sure that wealth is equalised a bit over the world, and you don't have these great extremes that we have at the moment.
And Mr. Dick...
We'll just see if there's any other questions from anyone else, if that's all right. Yeah?
Would you say that the AYCC has critical mass in terms of support from young people? Like obviously there's how many of them are here today, but in terms of like Greater Australia, do we prioritise getting more support, or do we prioritise